A year had passed since Emily and I went our separate ways, and life had taken a direction I never could have predicted. I had moved into a modest downtown condo, leaving behind a house that once echoed with the life we had shared. My days had settled into a quiet rhythm: work, books, the occasional outing. It wasn't thrilling, but it brought the calm I had craved after the storm of our breakup. Since the final court hearing, Emily and I had maintained an unspoken pact of silence. Neither of us reached out. The wounds were still too raw, and I told myself the distance was safer. I doubted I could face her without dredging up the old anger and resentment we had buried. Then, one cold November evening, as I was preparing for a quiet night in, there was a knock at my door. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, there she was, Emily, standing hesitantly, her eyes reflecting a mix of determination and uncertainty. "James," she said softly, her voice trembling. "Emily, what are you doing here?" I asked, my mind racing. "I know this is sudden," she said, twisting her fingers nervously. "But I need to talk to you. It's important." Questions surged through me. Was she here to reopen old wounds, dragged to pass into the light, or was something genuinely wrong? Despite my hesitation, I stepped aside. She entered cautiously and took a seat at the far end of my sofa, her posture stiff and guarded. I sat across from her, the space between us heavy with everything left unsaid. "It's about my father," she whispered. Richard, her father, had never hidden his dislike for me and had frequently come between us during our marriage. He had been a constant source of tension. Emily's eyes glistened with tears. "He's very sick. The doctors don't think he has much time left, and he's been asking to see you." I blinked, stunned. Why would he want to see me? "He wants to apologize," she added quietly. "He feels responsible for everything that happened." Her words hit me hard. Richard, the man who had constantly undermined me, now wanted forgiveness? I didn't know whether to laugh at the irony or let old anger resurface. "I don't know, Emily," I said after a pause. "This is complicated." "I understand," she said quickly, almost pleading, "but it would mean so much to him and to me." I studied her face, searching for hidden motives. There were none, only sincerity, vulnerability, and quiet desperation. Against all odds, a part of me still cared for her. That part stirred. Slowly, I nodded. "All right, I'll go." 2 days later, I stood outside Richard's hospital room, bracing myself. My pulse thudded in my ears. Emily was beside me, calm and unreadable. At her small gesture, I pushed the door open. Inside, Richard sat slumped in a chair, frail and diminished. The once imposing figure had been reduced to a shadow of himself. Yet when he saw me, a weak smile lit his face, and his eyes glimmered with emotion. "James," he said, his voice unsteady. "Thank you for coming." I nodded, unsure what to say, torn between resentment and pity. "I've been thinking about the past," he continued, his gaze fixed on me. "And I see now how much damage I caused between you and Emily. I thought I was protecting her, but all I did was hurt you both." His words landed heavily, stirring a pain I hadn't felt in years. Yet there was a strange comfort in hearing him acknowledge his role in our suffering. I swallowed hard, my throat tight. "I appreciate you saying that," I finally replied. "But it wasn't only you. Emily and I made our own mistakes too." A faint smile flickered across his lips. "Perhaps, but I still hope you can forgive an old man for what he did." I felt the weight of years pressing down, then eased slightly as I said, "I forgive you, and I mean it." That conversation marked a turning point. For the first time in years, there was room for peace. Emily and I didn't slip back into old patterns, nor did we rekindle our romance. But as we spent the following week supporting her father through his final days, something unexpected emerged: mutual respect and quiet companionship. When Richard passed, Emily and I stood side by side at his funeral, not as husband and wife, but as two people who had endured and emerged changed. In the days that followed, we spoke not of failures, but of memories, lessons, and the distance we had traveled. We didn't reunite romantically. That chapter was closed. Yet for the first time in years, I could look at her without anger or pain, only acceptance. Months later, an envelope arrived from Richard's lawyer. Inside was a modest inheritance and a handwritten note. James, thank you for forgiving me. Use this to start something new. You deserve it. Reading the words, I felt a release I hadn't realized I needed. Richard's final act wasn't about money. It was about peace. And that night, when Emily had come to my door, I never imagined it would lead here. Not to rekindle love, but to closure and forgiveness. I had learned that forgiveness is one of the greatest gifts a person can give.